Hello. If you're just joining us, we're just putting in the chat what your favorite thing about summer is, or what are you looking forward to this summer.
Hi.
And if you want to add where you're joining from, that's great. I see a lot of Arkansas people, but different places in Arkansas. And we'll get started in a minute or two. Okay. We got a decent crowd in here. Thank you guys for joining. I was going to have walk-up music or whatever, but I didn't figure that out technically. So, yeah, we're just doing what we can. Yay! Thanks for joining, Sarah. Okay, so I'm going to flip back to my intro screen. So today is, as you know, about helping ease transition, specifically summer transition if you have kids, but if you don't have kids, this is also very helpful information if you have partners who are going to be home, who aren't usually home, or just you're just experiencing any big changes. Hey, from Chicago, whoop whoop. So I want to start off on a positive note because I know a lot of you are overwhelmed. I've talked to some of you individually, but I feel that. I have had my daughter home for now 3 summers, and I'm just now to the point where that overwhelm in the pit of my stomach is mild because I feel like I have gotten a grip. And so that's why I wanted to provide this for you guys. I want you to set an intention for today, not so much like what do you want to get, because you don't really know what we're going to talk about, but how do you want to feel? Like, how do you feel right now? How do you want to feel when you leave? I find that really helpful to have a reference to where I want to be. And if you can put in the chat, what is the hardest part of big transitions for you? It could be the summer transition in general, or it could be any kind of big change in life. You put that in the chat. Be super helpful. Because we all experience different things, and sometimes we think we're alone on those things, but in reality, a lot of people are dealing with very similar things. More excited than worried is how you want to feel. You feel confident. Yeah. The past, you've been shut down, and that's the hardest. Like during a transition, you just kind of freeze for fun. Want to be feel more prepared and proactive. Love it. Adjusting. Oh, Jesse already knows. You're giving it away, Jesse. Adjusting to uncertainty and change, leaving the familiar, feeling pressure to adapt, balancing new responsibilities and changes, building confidence. So I'm seeing confidence here and proactivity. Figure out the new normal or routine. Yep. Want to feel more peaceful and at ease. Yes. Balancing kids, extracurricular, around grandparents who are sometimes like our children. favorite thing about summer is not fighting my child every morning to get ready for school. Okay, we're now at 10 after. So I'm gonna, if you want to still add, I would love to hear what your hardest part of transition is. I am gonna go ahead and get started because we have a lot of it to go through, but I am gonna, wait a minute, why is this not letting me push the button? Okay. I will share these slides with you. In fact, it looks like it's sharing the slides with you already, so that's good. So I said on the home screen, I really want to help you guys create bandwidth, which means a lot of micro steps and you don't have to do them all, but if they add up, they can create this space for sanity, this space for I've got this, space to be proactive. But as we go through this, I don't want to overwhelm you with the idea that you have to implement all of these at once. These are just skills that I've implemented over the past 3 years, or things I've implemented over the past 3 years. By all means, if you are all about it and you want to do all of them, do all of them. But don't feel like you have to, because that is probably the quickest way to get yourself shut down. Whether you have ADHD or you don't have it, change is hard. Transition is hard. We're going to talk a little bit about why it's so hard. We're going to get out our calendars for a few minutes. I thought mine was filled out, and I just looked for when the summer program that I was thinking about starts, and I did not have it in there. So I'm also going to do that with you for a few minutes. And then we're going to talk about who's in our village and who might also want help, or, you know, be able to work with us and be on this journey with us over the summer. And we're going to make a list. We're going to write that stuff down. So if you have paper, that's good. And then Q&A. And if you have a question during the presentation, feel free to pop it in the chat. And if I miss it, we'll come back. I know sometimes when you think of something, you need to say it right away. Or if you want to raise your hand, you can do that too. Okay. So before we get started on why transition is so hard, how many of you, and you can put it in the chat, do you prepare for the end of summer in any way? Do you gear up for the end of summer? And if so, how? Not everybody go at once. I start in February when all the summer camps advertise and fill up within weeks. Stressful. That's good. End of summer, one last trip, get the calendar started for school things. Honestly, no. Start or either one. But I'll give you an example of what I mean by the end of summer, preparing for the end of summer / beginning of school. How many, I don't have all the tiles showing, so I actually can't see everybody. I should fix that. I try a couple weeks before school starts to wind back the bedtime. That's an example, something very small. Let's see if I can. There we go. I am recording this, and if you don't want your face showing, feel free to, because it was just me. But if you don't want your face showing, you probably want to turn your screen on. Do you guys adjust your bedtime routine? Cool stuff. Try to get kids out. Won't happen until May. Everything feels like it's on hold until we know about that outcome. Yeah. Yeah, I talked to someone yesterday about some tryouts. Mine's too young for that kind of stuff right now. So that sounds hard. Yes, attempts to. Yours is a night owl. Yeah. Mine wants to be. The reason I ask that is because I know for myself, we're so ready to like sleep in a little and not have to get up and rush and get ready for school. And that kind of sets everything off, and it includes like a later bedtime. And part of why transitions are so hard is because we get this internal clock disruption with a loss of structure, which Jesse mentioned. Anticipatory stress, uncertainty, which is like it fries our brains. Everything's just very vague for the most part, unless we have a really structured plan. And I find that most of us don't. And even so, with all of the other changes, it can feel very uncertain. Overstimulation and sensory issues like temperature change, our breakfast routine, like what we're eating, all of these things weigh in. And then social changes and fear about social changes. Am I going to see my friend's mom? Are they going away? Are they going to like a whole summer camp? Or how am I going to talk to them if I don't have a phone? All these different things. Or if I'm going to a different summer program than they are. Or if they live further away than my babysitter can take me to see them. You know, all of these different things are very stressful. And then that we kind of feed off of each other. That stress kind of feeds off of each other. When our partner or kids are stressed about these things, it can be like a perfect storm. My relaxed one. I'm Oh no, Mariana's saying Sue's relaxed ways. I was like, that's funny because I'm more relaxed than I used to be, but I would be relaxed.
Well, I just liked her. I prepare the night before, or I don't think about it. I need that more.
That's
What
not
did you say?
I'm here so I can try to learn to be more prepared because it's pure chaos.
Well, and the key is to prepare as much as you can, but not beat yourself up if you haven't, and not be fearful of, oh, is this going to mean things are chaotic? Micro steps mean it's going to get a little better. And if you have ADHD or you think you're, pretty high on the spectrum of symptoms, we're very all or none, but it doesn't have to be that way. If we just remind ourselves it's okay if we don't do this perfectly. A little bit is better than none. So part of the reason kids and ADHDers have more trouble often with transition is because kids in general have an underdeveloped frontal lobe, which is where all their executive function happens. And I thought I had notes for this, and I don't know where they went. So I'll just wing it without my notes here. The biggest one is cognitive flexibility. That's your ability to just be able to shift from one thing to another, from one routine to another. And in general, when we have trouble with the underdeveloped frontal lobe or ADHD, that executive function is hard on a micro level, day to day, from task or context to context. And if you exacerbate your whole world of changes, it gets bigger. So it's just hard. It's like a jolt. Kids with ADHD have a 30 to 40% delay in their prefrontal cortex development, which means, for example, my 10-year-old, when it comes to executive functions, and planning and time management and working memory, those are all parts of this transitional difficulty that play in. But my 10-year-old, on those levels, she's 6 or 7 sometimes, even though she's twice exceptional, which means she's highly intelligent, she skipped a grade. She's still operating on those things at a very young level, which kind of helps me be patient with her when I can remember. So I thought I would give that to you guys as a tool to help remind yourself when you're frustrated why my highly intelligent child is behaving this way. It's because of that delay in development. What can we do to ease the pain? So I'm going to go through several things. Again, these are the micro steps. They are not do all of these or do none of these. It's do whatever you can. I would say apply whatever's the easiest thing for you to remember to apply and to add into your life. Consistent bedtimes. That's why I asked the question about winding down. I know I'm like, yeah, stay up late. Let's watch a movie together, whatever. Because late for my daughter's 8:30. But really, this is super important when it comes to all of the executive function, because they have done studies on sleep, and if we shift too much, we skip a really important, the biggest deep sleep phase of the night, which happens very early on. So I wouldn't make it too big of a shift, or you might miss that deep sleep phase, which messes with your working memory. It messes with emotional regulation, all of that stuff. It messes with your appetite. It messes with your inner clock. So if you can try to stay a little bit consistent and you can ease it up, but don't go from 8:30 to now they get to stay up till 10:30. Or if they stay up till 10:30 normally, don't be like, yay, stay up till 1 in the morning. Screen time, no devices an hour before bedtime and upon waking. I may actually I have notes that I wanted to put in the chat for this because I have tools for this. So I may have to stop the presentation version. Let's see. Bear with me, you guys. I apologize. I'm going to do this. That's easier for me. So, it skipped. Here we go. Screen time. The reason for this is it disrupts your internal clock. It increases overstimulation. It just, in general, blue light, all that stuff. So it's just better for everyone, even adults, if you can keep from having this. And these are the tools that I use. I've heard, I have my phone in my room, or all of the things. I use smart plugs for TVs so I can control. That way there's no arguing. TV goes off. I didn't do it. Set on a timer. Not my fault. Freedom.to. You can completely lock yourself out of anything you want. And if you have it switched to a certain, I forget what it's called, it won't let you in. You don't have to have that turned on, but I know myself, I'll click a give me more time every day, all day for these apps. And then a client of mine talked about Focus, which is a free version of Brick, which is an NFC. I think you could use a QR code too for that. That's for mobile devices. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next one. And I will blow it back up for you guys. That show. Daily anchors. So it's important to try to stick to some sort of routine. And it could just be we're leaving the house every day at this certain time, or we're taking a walk for 5 minutes every morning. We're having breakfast together every morning, something for the morning that's stable and consistent as it can be. And if you're leaving the house, maybe it's not even that we have to leave and go to the same place, but just knowing, hey, we're going to be leaving. This is why I go to the co-working space or a coffee shop every single morning to work, because I need to know I have to leave the house by this time. This is easier. If you work from home, this is really helpful whether you have kids or not. a midday routine. We're going to have lunch. We're going to try to have lunch at the same time. We're going to, you know, if you have a babysitter, this is something that you can apply, like have your babysitter apply. Grounds the nervous system. Yeah, it's grounding. It anchors you into the now and the here and what to expect every single day.
Can I ask a question about this, or are we waiting
Yeah.
to ask questions at the
Yeah.
end? I'm not sure.
Go ahead.
This one gets me a lot in that I'm wondering the impact on routine daily versus like weekly. We have a hard time doing routines daily because the difference in softball game nights might get us home super late at 9:30, and then that's so late for my 4-year-old. And we've got, all the activities, and that routine to repeat daily is just hard. I mean, if we do something weekly, does that count or help, or is it like we just really need to figure out the daily?
So are you saying it's hard as in getting up at the same time, or it's
going to bed at the same time is the bigger
going
one.
to bed? Yeah.
So it's
I
just,
mean,
I recognize the value of routine, and I personally even have it hard for myself. So for me to even try and do it with my kids, it's just so much with their activities. And so I'm just wondering.
Sometimes you can't avoid it. So it's, hey, every night. And think about it too, like small doses. If you think about it, on the weekends, we generally don't go to bed at the same time. It's not a great idea, but like it doesn't jolt us as much as like going from 8:30 every single day to going then the next full week we're going to bed at 10:30. It's not great, but like you said, weekly, if your weekly goal is to be in bed by this certain time, and then we have a day or two where that's just not possible, that's life. And it sucks. Here's where that knowing that helps me when my 4-year-old or now 10-year-old is having a tantrum the next day. I know, oh man, we went to bed late last night. Let's have a little more compassion. Let's, we know that this dysregulation is reliant on some of these tools that we weren't able to do.
Or maybe it's the same routine, like brush teeth, read a story or whatever, and then no matter if it happens a little late, just to be like the same. Yes,
that's what I was going to say. Even if it's not the same time, if you can implement the same activity. And once I have an example, I'll show you guys what we do or what we try to do. I'm not perfect at this either, but we have goals.
Thanks.
So making your calendars visible is important, even for a 4-year-old, even for a partner. Especially for a partner. And again, don't be so tight and rigid that like you feel like you need to make it perfect, because I'll show you. And this helps ground in our working memory. If we were overloaded, we have heavy allostatic load, which is the compilation of all the stressors that we have, and it's constant. Having a visible calendar is helpful for everyone. So this is back to the weekly thing. Yeah, I would recommend it. Someone said getting him to look at the Google. Mine doesn't look at the Google Calendar either. I'm saying visible, like on the wall, visible. But in that, back to your question, Mariana, setting weekly goals or themes. Who can we see? What can we learn? Because you may not have a lot of things planned because you're working. So, and they're going to a summer program or they're just having a babysitter. But if we can brainstorm on things for them to look forward to and kind of try to slot those out, or at least have a list of like, these might be things that we can do this week. I know it's hard because some kids are like, once you tell them, they've got it in their head. Shaking her head, yes. So maybe think of ideas and say, hey, I'm going to work on it and see what we can do. Don't set anything in stone. But this is what we do. And my daughter now writes her own calendar. This is our daily routine for during school. And I did not get the link for this Canva layout on the right, but this is what I mean. We literally have what we're doing every single morning listed step by step. And the times really, I don't even think we go by those times. I don't even know if times are important. I had them on there. Yes, I will get, as long as you guys have an email address on the feedback form, which you will, I think, because it requires it. I will send out all the links to resources, slides, all of that in case you don't get it, because I didn't have that up on my screen. But it's helpful because now you would think that a 10-year-old knows what to do in the morning. She doesn't, because her executive function is not all there. You would think she knows what to do every night. She doesn't. She does sometimes, depends on how her day went. We're the same. So just having it there as a resource. Start the day. This one's small, but it adds up. Start the day with sunlight in your eyes to set your clock. It helps you get better sleep. Water and protein. I'm not saying like cook yourself eggs or whatever. Some protein. Starting your day with sugar and carbs is a quick way to dysregulation for adults and for children. I used to have panic attacks, and I don't know if this is backed up, but I know by my experience, my nurse friend told me after I had one out of the blue for no reason, seemingly one day, she goes, "What'd you eat this morning?" And I said, "Nothing." She goes, "That's why you had a panic attack. Your sugar was completely low." So, when I say start the day, if you don't like breakfast, start the day may mean 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. If that's what your system takes, but try to get some protein. Peanut butter has protein in it, has fat. It's not sugar and pure carbs. It makes a big difference to balance your blood sugar. I often ask, when my daughter is having a blow up, I have finally learned after years and years of years to pause and say, when is the last time you ate? Because this dysregulation is out of proportion with reality. So it's hugely important. I wanted to add this in here because these are symptoms of sleep deprivation, dehydration, and ADHD. Working memory is huge when it comes to sleep and dehydration. The note about caffeine on an empty stomach. If you're doing that, you're increasing your cortisol. And if you don't know what cortisol is, it's a stress hormone. Probably not great if you're already experiencing stress. So eat something. I eat a banana. I don't love breakfast, but if I drink coffee, that's just what it is. I can either quit drinking coffee and not have breakfast, or I can eat something small before I drink it. I accidentally missed that step a couple of months ago, and I had nausea, like nervous nausea, and I didn't know why, because I didn't realize I had skipped eating something, and it hit me. I was like, oh, that's why I felt super stressed. Again, for no reason. Chemicals are important. Get your wiggles out. Exercise like protein helps keep us regulated. And that could be, like I said, a 5-minute walk throughout your day, or if you have a babysitter, just make sure they're getting, I sub sometimes for my daughter's school because they're low on subs. We always do wiggle breaks, always. And they love it. And they're a lot better afterwards. This modulates key neurotransmitters that equal to focus and regulation and just better executive function in general. So think zone 2, like walking fast enough that your heart's pumping, but you can still talk. That kind of exercise. It doesn't have to be crazy, and it doesn't have to be consecutive. Be 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there if we're talking adults, right? Get up and move your body. Any questions so far? I feel like I'm going really fast, but I'm going to give you guys some time. We're almost to the end of all the tools. Morning gratitude and nightly wins. Gratitude could look like, what am I looking forward to today? Doesn't have to be anything huge. right? Like, what's something good that I'm looking forward to? This also helps ground you.
Hey, Leah, can you
Um,
go that one slide?
there you go.
Can you talk about noradrenaline?
So noradrenaline is it soothes your stress response.
Okay.
Or sorry, I may have misspoken. I think it is your stress response. It narrows in your attention. So this is, ADHDers use this actually as a natural drug. This is a lot of why we wait till the last minute to do things, because it gives us that, it's adrenaline, noradrenaline. It gives us that adrenaline spike. And if we're not using ADHD meds, like, this is our natural drug that we use. So when you say modulate, essentially it helps you have the right amount at the right time. So we're not just, again, we're not dysregulated. Morning gratitude and nightly wins. This is important. It helps train your brain. And I would say, for me personally, the most important one is talking about what went well today. As an ADHDer, we often go through our day not checking things off, not acknowledging when things get done, and we set the bar higher and higher, and then we end the day thinking, God, we didn't get anything done. Well, for kids, it's important too. I actually have a recording of my daughter talking about how she really enjoys going over her wins and why. I did not put that in the presentation, but again, just like for us, it kind of helps. And this is the difference between the two. So gratitude trains safety and meaning, strengthens emotional regulation, stabilizes mood, activates serotonin and connection circuit. So you're talking oxytocin, which is another one that wasn't on that slide. My life has value. I am supported. So it's a moment for connection, even if it's a quick one, right? You get out of bed. Hey, what are you guys looking forward to today? What are you thankful for? What are we, just don't overcomplicate it. Personal wins right before bed. That's what we do. 1 to 3. What went well today? Some of my male clients say, well, I can tell you what didn't suck. Okay, we'll start there. Sometimes it's hard. This is one of the hardest things. Yeah. It's good if you can write them down. I will tell you, I'm not the best at that. This trains your agency and momentum, and it strengthens behavioral reinforcement, builds motivation. So I see what I did. Now I know I can do it again, right? I acknowledge I won. I can do this again, is the behavioral reinforcement. You build motivation, activates dopamine and achievement circuits, so your reward circuits. Yeah, the gratitude practice and the wins. Actually, yeah. What am I looking forward to? Trains your reticular activating system to look for what is good in your day versus looking for what's bad. The wins have a similar thing, because when especially if you do this before bed, you're going into the night not thinking, what did I not get done? But instead thinking about what I did do. And it will shape the quality of your sleep. It doesn't have to be a big win. A lot of times the wins that clients report are thinking changes. They're metacognition changes. I could have reacted this way. I could have yelled at my kid, but I didn't. That's a huge win. I paused and asked my child, have you eaten today? That's a win. I made my bed, and I usually don't. I kept my mouth shut when I was hangry. I thought about things before I went off the rails. Those are wins. They seem small, but they're not small. They're huge. And if you don't acknowledge that these changes are happening, they don't stick as well. Then my actions have impact. I am capable. Okay, we're to the calendar part now. Pretty good. Was that too fast? Then anybody want me to go back over anything else?
We're good.
You good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm actually going to get my calendar out, because I don't like thinking the wrong thing. And I found out yesterday, and I'm glad it was yesterday and not the week school got out. So this is also, I'm also going to do this with you guys. You guys ready? I know there's no way you can fill your calendar in 5 minutes. The idea was to kind of get things started and look at where you are, and obviously things are going to get added. This would be a good thing to do, possibly even on a weekly basis. I mean, I do this for myself. So making sure you're helping it, making it visible for the household so that they feel grounded and know what's coming up. And you can get help with it. Like I said, my daughter fills out her own calendar. She'll ask me and then she'll write it down, which they really enjoy, being the boss a lot of times and feeling like they're being helpful. The next thing, I want to spend 5 minutes thinking about and writing down Jesse. Yes, Jesse is advanced. I don't know how long it has taken him to learn the things that he's learned. How long did it take you, Jesse? About a year and a half. Still learning, yeah. And I think a couple of different coaches. Who's in your village? And also, I mean, thinking about not just people, but like, what are communities that, and this could have been good for the calendar, but like our library is really active in providing things for the kids in the summer. So I relied on that a lot, but I had a group of friends that I knew also had their kids home, and they would take my kids sometimes, and I would let their kid come over and occupy each other. And yes, it's really hard working from home when you've got kids home, but if that's your only option, then, you know, you do what you can, but that way they're occupying each other ideally during times where you have a little bit more flexibility if that's the case. But and even if your trade-off is, oh, I can take your kid in the evening after work, in exchange for you, like my friend would take Hallie to the movies. And I know when you have more kids, it's a lot more to coordinate. But every Wednesday they would go to the movies. Sometimes she would say, hey, we're going to the library. Do you want me to grab Hallie? Very helpful. And letting people help you is also a blessing for them. People want to feel useful. And even if they have a lot of kids, having one kid thrown in the mix actually can help. I didn't know this until someone pointed it out to me, because I was like, I don't want to add my kid as another burden to you. But she, several friends with more than one kid actually told me it's helpful, because if not, they're just fighting each other. When you throw your kid in the mix, they're all wanting, A to B on their best behavior, and having fun with her keeps them from fighting each other. So it's not as burdensome as you might think, is what I'm trying to say. You may not have this, but if you sit down with your friends and say, hey, who are your favorite people at school? And, or who do you want to hang out with this summer? It does take connecting, and like not being an introvert, not underestimating how hard that is. But maybe trying to get their parents' information to coordinate, because likely they need help too. We have about 10 minutes before the hour is up, which is probably a record for me. This is the end. I appreciate all you guys showing up and using the lunch break for me to hopefully help. I'd love one of the things I said in the beginning, I want to get better at these. I would love some feedback. And especially if you want me to send you materials, this would be a good way to get it. So I make sure I have your email address. And I will send them to everyone. And if you don't want them, you can ignore the email and make it the chat. But the feedback form is here. And if you want a little more guidance on implementation, you can schedule a 30-minute call. This is not a sales call. I'm not gonna do any sleazy skills with you. That link is also available in the feedback form. But these things look different depending on what you've got going on, how many kids you have, you have a partner, all these things look different. We can get in a 30-minute call. We can, help make a little more leeway on this bandwidth for getting into the summer more quickly and with less stress. You can schedule that. It's going to be called a chemistry call. It really is. We're going to get to know each other and talk about implementation or whatever it is that you want to talk about. And if you have questions, you can ask those verbally or in the chat. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Leah. I think a hard thing is keeping our minds, it takes so much to keep us on track. Us with ADHD, and then you throw the kids in their routine. I think we talked a lot about what to do with the kids, but it's like keeping on track of what we need to do ourselves. I think that's so hard.
It is so hard. It's the blind, it's the blind leading the blind. I'm with you 100%. I'm not saying any of this is easy. I'm saying knowing it is like having a seed, right? And also just compassion for yourself is so key.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you shame yourself for not doing these things, or you say, oh, I'm a chaotic mess, does that make you want to do the things?
No.
Or does it make you want to run from the things?
Yeah, avoid them.
There will be a recording, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Been crying. Oh, you're kidding. Yeah. And yeah, some of this stuff might feel or actually be impossible to implement depending on the age of your kids. But again, they're micro steps or the age of your partner and how much they're stuck in their ways. You got to be sneakier with them, I think, the adults. And sneakier with yourself, because your brain is going to look at this and be like, no, I don't have time to do that. Or no, that's too stressful. Or no, it's not going to work out anyway. Well, maybe it will.
Well, and that's just it. I'm just like looking at Rebecca's message, like your kid's sick, things happen. And I had a similar thing with our family recently in the flu. And it's like, you can't predict, you can't plan around. And I guess it's just such a reminder to have grace on yourself and the situation. And of course, the kids, I probably need a lot of that.
You do. You've gotten better. And I mean, I think that's where the acknowledgement of the wins too. A lot of times it's simply, hey, I didn't should my pants today. I didn't.
It's almost like a
mean?
recentering, like about
Yeah.
keeping perspective and
Yes.
yeah, not being too perfectionist or hard on yourself or the situation. Yeah.
I mean, shaming yourself is like turning up a hot stove. It's like a dial on a hot stove and then being like, okay, now go touch that stove now with your bare hand. It'll be fun. So like if you're going to shame yourself for not doing these things, you're basically making sure you won't do them. And it is having the, kids are just unpredictable, and having these episodes is jolting in itself, and it can mess up your whole day. But every morning is a new morning, and managing, like, we underestimate how much it takes to manage ourselves, like you said, Suze, and other human beings. That as a baseline is like a whole job. So if you guys don't have any more questions or anything, I can give you 4 minutes back, or I can hang out here while you fill out the feedback form, whatever you want to do. I'll the chat says share. Oh, it's telling me to share the PowerPoint. Okay, I'm sharing it. Wow, okay. Not an editor. I thought that was showing for everyone the whole time. So there's that. I'm going to share the PowerPoint here. It is, and I can also send a PDF, but also this whole thing is recorded. So I'll share that too. Okay. If you guys don't have any more questions, I'm going to give you some time back. Thank you so much for being here.
Leah, this was great.
I appreciate all the
Great
feedback
stuff.
and advice. Oh, and I'll share comments too, because there was some really good stuff in there added. Thank you. Oh, hey, I didn't even see you, Jasmine. Thanks. I knew you were,
Thank you. This was great.
you were so quiet.
No, I was definitely taking notes. I'm always talking.
Hey,
Thank you, Leah.
thank you.
Thanks, Leah.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.